and now joined by the coach. And Buzz, just take me through the final 8 minutes or so of this game. You surge in front by 12. You take that surge from them where they go up by 1, and then you show a lot of resilience and heart down the stretch.
I don't know that always being honest is the right thing. Grandma said it was, and I don't ever want to be disrespectful to Grandma, but I'm always honest with our team. What I show them on tape, what I say to them in the huddle, what I say to them at practice is the truth. And the truth is at Syracuse, we didn't finish the game, and they made winning plays when it's time to make winning plays, and we tried to back into it. And sometimes that works, but for your life, that's not the way to deal with problems. And so the things that I talked about since then, the things that we showed them, the things that we practiced, were all raw and in living color relative to why did we start out 4-1 and then go 0-5. And as we start the third set of 5 games, how are we going to handle the day? So we've played 11 games. 7 of them have been decided by 2 possessions or less. And as I told them today, and I was telling them in the last timeout, I was telling them at the 8-minute timeout, you have to make winning plays when it's time to make winning plays. And winning plays are not hero plays. Winning plays are what helps your team win. And you have to be able to execute on both ends of the floor. And the only way that you can overcome that is not by somebody patting you on the back and saying, good job, good luck next time. You have to be able to do it. And I thought we were incredibly resilient. Not that I have ever thought that we're not resilient. I think resiliency means your ability to bounce back when you get knocked down. And I think we've been incredibly resilient. But I think that it's deeper than resilient when you have to do what we had to do today. Those guys, with what's happened to Louisville, those guys are playing to win the league. Those guys are playing to go to the NCAA tournament. And we're teetering on, are we just going to shut it down? Or are we going to try to stay in the mix and see what happens? And, man, I just, as a coach, as a parent, really proud of how they responded.
Is this one of those games when you're thinking you're only down 2 at the half and you're feeling good because your defense had been outstanding and you knew your offense was going to come along, and then Bibbs gets it and he ties the game on a great play, and it just kind of grew from there, didn't it? That's
what I told them, Burnop. Like, I was telling them that in the timeouts in the first half, like, guys, I think we're playing great. But I thought this is what I told them at halftime. Be anxious for nothing. You guys care so much that you're putting too much pressure on yourself because you know that you want to win so bad. And that pressure is causing you to miss layups. It's causing you to miss the threes that we typically make. It's okay. But you have to hug this opportunity. And a hug is not a man hug like, yo, what's up? It's you better hug it, because if you don't, it's not going to work out the way that you want it to. And I thought we were great defensively at Syracuse. I thought we were great defensively today. It's for sure the best back-to-back defensive performances we've had. Offensively, we've kind of gotten to the point where we'll score enough points to win. We didn't play that away in the first half, but that also has to do with Clemson crawls up in you and makes you play so high on the floor, and they make everything tough for you. And I thought we handled that pressure better in the second half.
Was the fact that Landry Noko had 8 blocks actually a positive for your team and the persistence of continuing to attack downhill?
Well, we're playing Zach Leday at the 5 with 4 guards running around. And I would say if Zach played 34 minutes, I would say Zach played at the 5 20. And if you look at it on paper, you go, man, you guys are going to get crushed on the glass. You guys are going to get annihilated inside. And I was just talking to the coaches about that. I think maybe part of it's just because I've coached a lot of small teams and a lot of midgets in my career. Like, I think that you think that that's what's going to happen. But if you have tough kids, what ends up happening is it becomes a problem for them. We started Zach at the 5 against DeJuan Coleman at Syracuse. And it was the best start we have had in a long time. So I'm not saying that I'm a good coach. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, I just think within how we play, we're comfortable with that.
Boy, only 2 turnovers in the first half, 8 for the game. That is so big.
That's why we won.
Numbers.
That's why we won.
Yeah.
We didn't get demolished on the glass. We didn't give up baskets in transition because we took ill-advised shots, and we only turned it over 13% of the time against a team that's incredibly sound defensively. That's why you can endure not making shots in the first half and then shoot 48% in the second half, because we were getting a shot every time.
Was that a maturity stretch of the game deep for Kerry Blackshear?
Man, I love KJ. How do you do?
6 boards, 6 points, but there just seemed to be in some defining moments in this game, he stepped up huge.
He just has a skill set and has a high-level basketball IQ that allows him to be productive. And even though he may not be scoring, what he's doing does help trend towards our team scoring, because he's a threat. And, yeah, that's a short answer.
You got to hug Devin Wilson, too. You know,
Man, hey, only guy left since the day I was hired, played every minute you could play for 2 years. And then I tell him on New Year's Day, hey, man, this is what I'm going to try. And I'm not saying it's right, but for sure you've done nothing wrong. And he has been the ultimate teammate. He's easily the toughest guy that we put on the floor. And I tell him today, hey, man, you're going to guard a first-team all-conference player who's there for. And in practice, in a game, I'm yo-yoing him out, offense for defense. He knows it. He's okay with it. And I've learned a lot from him. His body language you think is bad because he's indifferent. Like you want him to go, yeah. And that's just not who he is. But the more that I'm around him and the longer I've been around him, the consistency of his work ethic and the consistency of his personality that's been huge for our team.
We talk a lot, Buzz, about not necessarily wins and losses, but laying bricks and laying foundations. But how badly did these guys need it as you talk about that point where you either shut it down or you continue to work for something to get this one today?
Well, that's what I told them. All the things that I wrote up there on the board before the game, I said, guys, before I told them what I wrote up on the board, I said, I don't know a coach in my career that would have ever told me that this is the right thing to do. But in my heart, I believe it's the right thing to do, because my responsibility is not only if we win or lose today. My responsibility is when I'm old and you guys call me, you know, and your mama knows, I always told you the truth. And here's the truth. And that's what I told them. And you can shut it off. Everything will be fine. We've won twice as many games as we did last year. We got a bunch of guys hurt. We're young. Just shut it off, and we can justify as much as you want to justify. But I'm not going to justify it because I know that it's not the truth. Here's the truth. And I went through all of it. And, man, those guys hung in there.
Yeah, the crowd loved it.
Yeah, that's turning a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
That's turning a little bit. And that's part of what we're trying to do. That's an important brick in what we're trying to lay. And pass out donuts, pass out coffee, be a marketer, be a head coach, be a husband, be a father, whatever. Like, let's just keep growing. And it can't just be, well, we're excited when we win. That's it. It's a process, and you have to hug the process and know that every day is important.
Today was an important day. You certainly got that feel. 60-57 is the final. Buzz, we'll see you in Charlottesville. Make sure Corey doesn't forget those Jordan pants and lead him for shoot-around down there.